Welcome to Mind Ova Matter, where we feature young Jamaicans who are shooting for the stars. I'm your host, Margaret Boyne. Today, we explore the fascinating world of robotics and artificial intelligence. AI, once considered futuristic, is now one of the most impactful and game-changing technologies of our time. My guest is the CEO of Stone Technologies Limited, a robotics and artificial intelligence company. He's a past student of Campion College, and he's presently pursuing a master's in philosophy at the University of the West Indies. Join us on this captivating journey as he shares his entrepreneurial journey, his research, and explore the ways in which artificial intelligence is reshaping our world. My guest is Matthew Stone. Welcome to Mind Ova Matter, Matthew.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, and I'm looking forward to this interview, because I've been searching for you for some time. So you're the CEO of Stone Technologies, a robotics and artificial intelligence company. Tell me a little about the company, when you started it, and the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, so we started around 2019. I've always been interested in, robotics and, the future where we have, robots interacting with humans as we humans do right now. So I've always kind of had an interest in AI. So, I've also always kind of had a sort of entrepreneurial, motivations as well. So, I've always wanted to start a company. I've always been kind of inspired by the whole startup culture in Silicon Valley. In terms of Stone Technologies Limited, it actually started out from trying to solve a problem. So, a utility company in Jamaica, they had approached, I think, one of my lecturers about a problem that they had. And the lecturer approached me, asking if I could, So we had to create a model, an AI model that could essentially detect numbers on an electric meter. Several people had tried their hand at it, but, didn't really succeed. But, I had a big passion for AI. So, I tried my hand on it, and, we actually found some success. So that's kind of where the company started out, where I wanted to have a company that could offer, services in AI and machine learning in the Jamaican space. And I guess you could say that was our, one of our first projects. Other from that, also had interest in drones. One of the projects that we're actually exploring is the use of autonomous drones for security and surveillance. So the particular application was for a problem that's still plaguing Jamaica right now, praedial larceny. Where thieves would steal, cows and agricultural produce. So we had actually entered several competitions with that particular idea. We placed in a few. We visited some, asked about the problem, and they say it's a major problem. They lose a lot of money from thieves coming onto the farm and stealing produce. So the idea was to essentially have these drones sort of monitoring the farm. If someone reached like a particular area in the farm, the drone would, be dispatched and go toward. The idea is to sort of create an extra form of deterrent. So if a thief comes onto the property, if you have something literally just shining a light on you, and
right,
you'd probably think twice about staying, get out, especially if it's, looking right at you. Another project that we're also currently working on, so a problem that's actually plaguing the coconut industry is labor. So they're actually having a labor shortage. And the problem is right now to harvest coconuts, because the coconut trees are so tall, you actually need humans to climb up the trees to get the coconuts. The thing is, there aren't much people that are able to do that right now. And the people that are able to do that, they basically have the industry at ransom because there aren't a lot of people who can do it. So we're actually also exploring the use of drones to actually the top of the tree and actually pick the coconuts.
Really?
Yeah, so that's something that we are currently working on. If we do pull it off, it would be the first of its kind.
Mm.
It is a problem that not just plaguing Jamaica, but like all over the world. So anywhere that harvests coke, like India, the Philippines, Indonesia, they're having that same labor shortage problem. They've tried, people have tried different solutions, but yeah, we think if we can pull off our solution, it will turn out to be the best that particular problem.
So how long have you been working on that particular project?
So this particular project, which we call Ceres, which is named after the Roman god of harvest. We've been yeah, we've been doing it for about a year or a little bit over a year. We made some good progress. So we have like some concept designs and the prototype that actually built that we're working on right now. We actually also entered a accelerator program, the Tech Beach accelerator program. So we're currently in that as well. We're hoping to get some funding for that project. That as well. Yeah.
Very interesting, Matthew. So tell me a little now. You went to Campion. Were you considered in tech a nerd, or that's what they would call you? Were you considered that in school?
Yeah, you could say so. Like, yeah, I've always kind of had that label. People always say, "Oh, Matthew, smart guy." Yeah, I've always been like, interested in like generally how things work, and yeah, I guess that label has always kind of stuck with me. Like, Matthew is smart guy, or,
Yeah. So I imagine you were a student then.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, I tend to. There were some subjects I preferred over others, of course. Some subjects that I didn't really find much interest in, so maybe I didn't put like a ton of effort in. But definitely subjects that I had in like the science and the math, like those ones, I usually excel.
Were you into gaming?
Well, when I was younger, I wasn't like a big gamer head. There are a few games, as most kids end up playing, your Call of Duty or Need for Speed, but honestly, I haven't had much time. Like, I've been pretty busy with so much different projects. I haven't had much time to. I haven't even really thought of it. Like gaming.
Okay. All right. What about app? You have made any? Well, I would imagine you have.
Sure. So that's actually when I came into this whole tech thing. That's where it started with app development. More specifically, game development. So one of my first apps that I created was in high school. So this was around the time that I don't know if you remember the game Flappy Bird.
No, I think that was. I'm well past that time, Matthew.
There was this game in 2014. This app, a very simple game where you had this little bird that it was kind of flying at the top of the screen. But it was a craze around that time. So I was like, it's such a simple game. Like, maybe I should try creating a game. Like, how hard could that be, right? It was as simple as just like typing into Google how to make a game, and that really just started the whole like me very obsessed with like creating products and like in tech. So yeah, sent me down a rabbit hole of like learning all these different technologies, learning how to create a game. I'd spend literally hours just coding. And I remember even being on a bus one time, I forgot my stop because I was literally just there. Game. But what was really cool about that was like my first experience of like creating something and like having people actually use it. Like that feeling like when somebody like enjoys something that you created. It's like no other. So yeah, that really just it made me obsessed from there. Like thinking about what new product can I create, what new problem can I solve, and how can I get it in the hands of people, so I can, see the effect it has on them essentially. And
Okay.
from there, when I was in high school and college, I had created an app to help students access their course content online. At the time, there wasn't a mobile app for it. There was just like you could go to the website or whatever, but there wasn't an app. Many people had tried before to create one, but like none of them ever stuck. But I was like, let me just try it. And for the Christmas, when I probably should have been going to parties and enjoying myself.
Yeah.
I created that app, and it turned out to be like the go-to, the de facto app used in the university. I mean, I've made several games and other apps, since then, but I said those are one of my first two memorable. Yeah.
What is your research? Tell us a little about what your research is about.
Right. So my research is in a particular field called deep reinforcement learning. So let me kind of unpack that a bit. So my area is in the field of artificial intelligence. AI is really just all about getting machines to do tasks that normally humans would have to do. So I've always been interested in robots and like how robots can operate in the real world. And, we want robots to have the ability to learn, just as how humans can learn, they can learn and then carry out tasks. So reinforcement learning is a particular way to make robots learn through trial and error. So instead of you telling it or giving it an example of how to do the task, just like how a baby would kind of try different things, pick up this and kind of learns about the world from doing that. Or maybe, how you even punish or reward that child or even your pet. It kind of reinforces certain things to that child or pet. It's the same way we would train these artificial agents. We kind of give them a reward when they do something good, punish them when they do something, and they kind of learn from that. So my research.
So would you say it kind of mimics the brain? Or
it mimics. Yeah, exactly. It mimics how the brain sort of rewards you when you do a particular task. So the brain has these what we call dopamine receptors. So when you get food or something, you get this sort of sense of it, or you smell food, you get this sense of excitement. It's your brain kind of rewarding you to like, hey, even social media kind of takes advantage of those reward receptors in them. Like when you get a like on a picture or something like that. So it's the same thing really. My research is specifically on how to make that learning quicker. So one of the deficiencies of that sort of learning right now is that it takes a very long time. And my job right now is trying to see how I can make that a lot faster. What that will enable is for, robots to learn a lot quicker in the real world. In fact, that very same technique, and maybe we'll end up talking about this later in the interview, was used in the ChatGPT and the creation of ChatGPT, which everybody's talking about these days. So, yeah.
All right. We'll talk a little about that later on. So let's go on now. Artificial intelligence. So, I have a lot of young people who watches this. So break it down. Tell us what is artificial intelligence in a simple way.
Okay. Well, you can break it down into two terms. You have artificial intelligence. So we know intelligence. Our best example of it is with humans. So humans have the ability to reason, understand, to plan. They have the ability to strategize, to learn. So essentially, we're trying to create an artificial form of that. Either through a robot or maybe through a software program. The main aim of AI is essentially to recreate the same intelligence that a human has on, say, a machine or a computer. So in our everyday lives, we've actually been using forms of AI. So anything that normally required human input, we're generally trying to automate that. So, for example, even something as simple as detecting spam in your email is an example of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Something as simple as finding a path from your home is AI. It's finding a path.
Mm-hmm.
You have more advanced versions of that now with like the chatbot T, and you have self-driving cars. So that's an example of a task that once required humans.
Mm-hmm.
Now your car can drive itself. So
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna open up a world of possibilities where a lot of things that required human input will no longer be required. So a lot of jobs that existed before aren't going to be there anymore. You might have new jobs. That's a big debate. What's going to happen with the job market, but no one really knows. But what we do know, it's going to automate a lot of jobs going forward.
Mm-hmm. So what we don't realize though, is that we've been using artificial intelligence, but in our everyday lives, but we probably don't even notice it because we
Right,
just say
exactly.
Siri, find my phone. You don't realize that
Yeah,
that's artificial intelligence.
even when you use social media and the
Mm-hmm.
posts that it recommends, or if you go on Amazon and it recommends certain products, like it sort of knows you and like knows what you like. That's even a form of artificial intelligence. Because really and
Mm-hmm.
truly, when people talk about AI, they're really talking about machine learning, which is a subfield of AI, which is a form of AI where you're trying to learn from data. So there's a lot of data on the internet. Every time we use these products like the Facebook or the TikTok or the Instagram, yes,
Mm-hmm.
they are free, but you're actually the product. So they're making money
Mm-hmm.
from all that data that you're giving them. So this
Mm-hmm.
data they feed into these models that can essentially make predictions. So they can make predictions about what you like, what you don't like, so they know what posts to show you. And that's how they keep you addicted to these platforms because it sort of
Mm-hmm.
learns your profile and learns what you might like. And that's a very powerful thing that a lot of people don't realize, that the data that you're giving these companies for free, they're making a whole lot of money from it.
Mm-hmm. And then too, some of us think we talk about China, who is probably taking people data basically by
Mhm.
force, and we say, boy, but we are giving them free. We don't even know what I'm doing with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a big debate that's happening right now, even in the US, with the TikTok. They're
Mm-hmm.
using
Mm-hmm.
the TikTok of, what are they using this data? And it's a very important question to ask because data is very powerful. With data, you can literally do a lot of things. You can control a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things. You can control the outcome of what people buy, who
Mm-hmm.
people vote for. These are all things that the data can affect. It's
Mm-hmm.
a real concern that more people should have. What
Mm-hmm.
are these big tech companies really doing with my data, and how much power
Mm-hmm.
do they have?
Mm-hmm. What are some of the areas though where AI will have the greatest positive impact, you think, on
I
society?
think healthcare, it
Mm-hmm.
will automate a lot of tasks in that. Research. So even right now, there are examples where I think AI was used to help a man walk again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Science, it's gonna help with transportation. The hope is that if we do create these self-driving cars and all of these cars can self-drive, it should reduce the amount of deaths due to um traffic deaths. Let me see.
But
Yeah,
that self-driving car thing hasn't been as easy as they thought.
oh yeah, that's a good point to bring up. It hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So people like Elon Musk, who runs Tesla, they've made claims that, oh, we're gonna be having full self-driving by 2020. I mean, it's 2023. I mean, you do have examples of it in like very controlled scenarios, like in
Mm-hmm.
California, but
Mm-hmm.
like like a fully general self-driving car that you can just put it in
Right.
Jamaica, like in half a tree square, or put it in India and just expect it to be okay like that. We're not
Mm-hmm.
anywhere near that quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but we've definitely made a lot of advancements in the last few years. But yeah, you're right. They found that it is a lot harder, which I had predicted it's a lot harder than people thought.
Yeah.
Driving
Because
cars.
there's still the element of the human. You know, when
Right.
you're driving, you might buck up on something suddenly, or you know, you have to make a little turn or whatever. So, you know, so it's not as easy as they thought.
Yeah, exactly. The way a lot of these self-driving cars are created is they use data. So they use examples of people driving, and then you train these models to sort of predict what to do. The thing is, driving in California is different from driving in Jamaica.
Yeah. Yes.
Scenarios that they're going to experience completely different from the ones out here. That's the thing. We haven't really reached a point where it can like fully adapt to like any scenario. Like until we reach that, then yeah, we're not gonna reach that level 5 like fully out, like where you can literally remove the steering wheel and just the car alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You mentioned about jobs, displacement. Tell me, let's talk a little about that. There have been some concerns about it. Which industries do you think or professions you believe will be most likely affected?
Well, well, with the new advancements in generative AI, that's really brought up a lot of like interesting questions, especially the jobs that could be possibly automated now. You know, back in the day, people thought that things like art, being an artist, like, those are things that humans will always have, like creativity, like that will be left to the humans. AI can do the more like manual tasks and stuff like that. We're finding out now that that's not the case. Like to have AI creating art, to have AI creating. So our artists, our musicians are going to be replaced. Definitely in the near term, a lot of jobs that generally are like very repetitive tasks, like data entry clerk, stuff like that, those are going to be automated away. I've said this multiple times, and I'll say it again. I think call centers are ripe for automation. So
Definitely.
That's gonna get automated away. As self-driving technology gets better, in the idea of a taxi driver that may get automated away. There's a whole host of professions that even it's interesting, because at first people had thought that it's the blue collar workers that were going to were in trouble, the factory workers and so. We're finding now it's not those that really are in trouble. White collar jobs, maybe a paralegal, you don't need a paralegal.
Yes, right.
Thing they're doing, you don't need a secretary or an assistant anymore, because your AI can do it. You don't need a marketing creator, because the AI can do that for you now. Like, you don't need somebody writing a news brief, because your AI can do that for you. It's turning out it's actually the white collar jobs are actually the ones that are very much in danger of being automated right now. I think there's an example at this company called BuzzFeed that they fired like a bunch of people.
Yes.
With AI, because it has gotten, the technology has gotten so good. Like, if things like writing content or creating content, like AI can do that now
easily. All right. Persons will say though, Matthew, when we think of the Industrial Revolution, a lot of jobs were lost, but a lot of jobs were created. Are you able to tell us what jobs will be created?
Well, all right. There's a few that have popped up of late. So ChatGPT is a tool that came out recently. It's basically like a chatbot on steroids. It's like very good. Ask it almost anything and it answers it for you. You can tell it to write an essay and it writes it for you. Now how you use it is very important. So those questions that you ask, we'll call those prompts. So you actually have people, you have a new job that has actually been created called a prompt engineer. So yeah. So people that actually like create those questions that you ask ChatGPT. So Yes, you have courses spinning up for that now, and yeah, that's an actual believe it or not, that's an actual job.
Yeah.
I think what you'll see a growth of jobs that have been there before. So like things in data science, machine learning, you're going to see a lot of people probably start to go more towards. So when they're so typically the typical jobs when someone goes to school back in the day were like, oh, I'm gonna be a doctor or a lawyer. So that's gonna change now because we're in a data-driven world, automation world, content-driven. It's gonna be now, oh, I wanna be a machine learning engineer, I wanna be a data scientist. That's gonna be the new, prestige, job that people kind of want to go to school for. I think the idea of like going to school for a job is gonna change a bit. I think the mindset is gonna have to change more of, instead of hoping that there is some employer that's gonna employ me when I come out of school, it's more of, okay, how can I use these tools that exist to create my own product or create jobs or offer a service, offer value. So I think that's how society is gonna move towards from where it's the industrial move from the industrial age where it's like give students instructions, you come into a job to do this task. It's now going to be more like, okay, I have these tools, how can I solve problems, how can I add value to the world? So yes, there are jobs that have existed for a while will go away, but it actually will open up an opportunity to create more growth and to create more wealth, actually solve more problems, bring more people into the economic sphere. It's going to democratize learning. So it's not, the person who grew up in a certain home is going to get the best education anymore. Like everybody's going to be able to get a similar form of education. If you think about it, even the idea of being a YouTuber or a streamer, 10 years ago, you told your parents that they'd laugh at you.
Yeah.
Now you have 19-year-olds making millions.
Yes.
That was not possible. That was not possible 20 years ago. Like a 19-year-old telling you that they're making millions from their
Yes.
home. That's possible now. So I think it's going to open up possibilities that even right now, even I or you can't even think of. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my outlook.
So what about jobs that will stay then?